Hi, I am Iresha. In this video, I am going to introduce about my industrial training, that what I did, what I learned, the challenges I faced, and the experiences I gained. I completed my internship at University of Columbus School of Computing Research Group called Social Life Networks, or the SLN Research Group. The more details about this research group can be found through the link provided in the description section of below. Please follow that link and get to know what this research group is about, its origin, and other information. A web-based system called Social Life Networks for Farmers, or the SLN4F, is the current project handled by this research group. It addresses the major issues faced by Sri Lankan farmers from the farmer's point of view. You can have a basic idea of its major functionalities by looking at this simple poster. Or else, please follow the below given links in the description section for more details. So straight away, if we move on to the fact that what I did. Actually, me and another colleague were appointed as research interns for this research group. So that means we didn't have a single specific role. We had to do the roles of a QA, SE, software engineer, DB analyst, BA, and everything by ourselves while doing researching. So, initially, the first major task that I was assigned was to test the existing system, that web based system SLN4F, which I mentioned earlier. There, I did the testing and QA using both test automation and manual testing, did bug fixing and technical documentation of them. Then, further, I did some HCI human computer interaction enhancements in order to increase the usability of this SLN4F system, because the major audience of this system is farmers. So, therefore, the usability is a major concern. Here are a few examples. There was some kind of data not retrieving at the backend sort of issues, and I fixed them using PHP MySQL pieces of codes, and also I did field validation of all the data collecting forms in this existing SLN4F project system using jQuery and JavaScript. Likewise, fixed lot more and technically documented all of them. The major tools and technologies here I had to deal with are Selenium IDE, BugZilla, PHP, MySQL, Google APIs console, and likewise. Then me and my other colleague both were appointed to develop an Android application from the scratch for this existing web-based system, SLN4F system. But since me and my other colleague both were new to this mobile development part, by that time we decided to start it individually while self-learning and researching on new applicable methodologies and appropriate techniques. So as a result, initially I could develop two activities or two pages using evolutionary development methodology with object-oriented development. There I did JSON to cache the frequently required data in order to increase the performance or the efficiency of the application. Because my idea about Android application is that it should be minimized from the size of the application, and the performance or the efficiency should be increased, because finally we are going to place a mobile application in a device with very limited resources like a mobile phone. So what I believe is size should be minimized of the application and performance should be increased. So I had those kind of purposes while involving in this task. In this left side you can see the main activity or the main page I developed. So once you click on this third menu item, the guest menu item, you are navigated to this right hand side activity, which is called the guest main menu. Here the tools and technologies I had to touch are Android Studio, SDK, Java, JSON, SQLite, CHEADS Meta Design Framework, and so on. Then due to time constraints, as well as because I had previous experiences in these agriculture related systems with the relevant parties contacts, because I did such a system called Agro Disease Management System, ADMS, for my second year group project. So there I had enough of experience and enough of exposure to this field. So due to this that that concern and due to time constraints, the research group supervisors decided to divide me and my other colleague for two separate tasks. So therefore my other colleague was appointed to this mobile development part fully, and I was fully assigned to develop the web development of this current SLN4F web-based system. There I was asked to add a new component to manage the pests and diseases of this current SLN4F web-based system. As a research intern, there I had to do the design, development, data analysis and everything by myself. So I had the previous exposure to this field and I had enough of contacts in agriculture department and all. So using all of them, I initially started with a very simple design while keeping in the mind that the major audience is farmers, so the design should be simple as much as possible. Then I proposed it to the SLN research group supervisors and they approved it. Then I retrieved the existing required data from the existing ontology of the system using web services and JSON and SparkQL queries as well. There I did the data caching again to increase the performance of the performance of this component, and there I saved the cached data as WS files in the server. And then I collected the other required data from the outside resources that I already had contact with, like crops, pests, diseases, their images, symptoms, non-chemical, chemical remedies, and all. Then I altered the existing database structure to store those gathered and analyzed data. Then I did the development according to MVC architecture or the model view control architecture using PHP, JSON, JavaScript, MySQL, jQuery and all. And then, as I mentioned earlier, I did performance enhancements to the component using caching techniques, and also I did HCI enhancements using HCI concepts that I had learned to increase the usability. Then specially, I did the localization of the whole component as well, because as I mentioned earlier, the major user category is farmers. So the usability is a major concern, as well as they don't have enough understanding of English. So due to that reason, I did the localization of whole component from English to Sinhala. And in the meantime, I keep on researching on image processing, that how can I add some kind of image processing to this existing SLN4F web-based system in the future, so then we can diagnose and everything do in the real time. So I keep on researching on that how can I add it in the future. And for now, I have a small screen recording clip of the current status of this pest diseases component that I had developed. So let's have a quick look at it. This is the menu you get once you logged into this system, and when you click on this pest diseases menu item, you are navigated to a crop list with a separate button to send your own crops issues directly. When you click on that crop issue button, you are navigated to a very simple form where you can add an image and a description. You can add the image from the real-time camera, or else you can select from the gallery, and then you can add a description. Else you can go back to the crop list. There are all the frequently needed crops by farmers in this crop list, which is retrieved from our existing ontology of the system, and there are about 70 plus crops currently in our ontology, and all are in this list. For all of these crops, there are pests and diseases and everything added, and you can proceed there onwards to solve their issues. For example, let's proceed with tomato in this case. So when you click on tomato, you can see the pests and diseases of tomato in two separate tabs. In the first tab, you can see tomatoes pests listed likewise. And when you click on the next tab, diseases, you can see the diseases of tomato in this case. And then you just have to select the most relevant crop issue that you are having For example, let's select a pest called cutworm, and when you click on this, you are navigated to cutworm's symptoms. So then you can confirm, oh yes, this is the crop issue that I'm exactly having with my own crop. So after that confirmation, you can click on this remedies button. Then you will be navigated to the non-chemical remedies first, and in the next tab, chemical remedies. I have promoted non-chemical remedies first because if we can solve the crop issue with only non-chemical remedies, then that is good for our health. So likewise, you can see the same process for each and every crops, each and every pest and diseases. So for example, if we click on another pest or disease on this, then you can see the symptoms of it at the next step. So likewise, you can accurately solve your own crop issues currently up to this stage using this current pest diseases component of this existing SLN4F system. And this is how it works, and the surrounding are the tools and technologies that I had to mostly deal with during this development part according to MVC architecture. So now let's move on to the challenges that I had to face during this internship. The major challenge of this development part was how to increase the usability of this existing SLN4F web-based system, because as I said earlier, the major user category, the major audience is farmers. So the usability is a very key concern because farmers don't have enough exposure to technologies and they don't know English at all. So they are very reluctant to use this kind of systems. So how can we promote them? How can we make the current system much usable for them? So that was the biggest challenge. So I used HCI, human computer interaction concepts, the usability theories, the golden rules, and everything, and made these designs and user interfaces simple as much as possible. And the other key concern was that we did a field visit to Dambulla to talk with research on 100 farmers that we have previously selected, and in this picture you can see some very unfamiliar situation. You can notice that the way that farmers use their finger to touch the touch screen of the smartphone is very different than a normal familiar person. They are using their finger in a very unfamiliar way because they are not much used for these kind of technologies. So when we noticed this situation, we thought that we should do some enhancements to match with this situation, because we can't change the user. We should be adjusted according to the user, according to the user's behavior. So with that concern, I did some HCI enhancements, like I made the clickable areas or the buttons bit larger. So then they can reach the option that they really want to in the same way that they use their finger, as shown in this picture. And then other than that, I made the fonts bit larger so then they can see clearly, because most of the farmers are uh, already old people. So then I did very few combination of colors with a good color contrast, and also I made the error messages of the current system simple as much as possible to make them easier for them to understand. So likewise, I using HCI concepts and other techniques, I made the usability level of the current SLN4F web-based system for a much higher level. And other than that, there were day-to-day basis problematic situations like coding errors and installation errors, and likewise compiling errors. But I don't like to call them as challenges at all, because that's normal for anyone during a development process, and we can easily solve them using Google, Stack Overflow, likewise resources, online resources. So to be called as a challenge, this usability issue was the biggest challenge that I had to face during these tasks. Then if we move on to the lessons I had to learn, I got the chance to learn that I could basically exposed to lots of tools and technologies. There I could get knowledge about them. And then on the other hand, the biggest lesson is this, that as I mentioned earlier, we were research interns. So we didn't have a separate team or a separate person to give us the design straight away and ask us only to do the development according to this design, or else only to do the testing and QA according to this development. That's not the case in this research group normally, because in a company there are separate teams for design, separate team for development, separate team for QA, testing and QA. But in this research group we didn't have such teams or such separate persons. As I told before, as a research intern we should be able to do anything at any time. We should be all rounders. So therefore I had to do everything by my own design, my own development, my own testing and QA. So due to that reason, I could figure it out where to start with, how to do a complete development task from the scratch, where to begin with, how to apply the academical theories, academical knowledge I had, how to apply, where to apply, and where to begin with, and how to proceed on with the theories and how to apply them in practically. Likewise, I should understand the bigger picture, the overall process from the scratch to the end. So that was a very big lesson that I could gain. And then other than that, I could learn how to work in a working environment for the first time, and how to behave and with time management and all, with deadlines. And also I could improve my other skills like planning, organizing, how to deal with different people in the professional manner. And also I could improve my communication skills, because this was an internationally collaborative research group, so we had to work with foreign people, foreign researchers, and through Skype meetings and all. So I could improve my communication skills and also my personality. And this is the Gantt chart of the whole workload and the experiences that I had to go through during the 6 months of time period. So there are another two special experiences I should mention, that I got the chance to participate in two of the annually most popular exhibitions in Sri Lanka. The first one on the top is the Sahasak Nimevum, the Young Inventions exhibition held at SLECC 2015. Then the second picture is the Infotel exhibition held at BMICH in the 2015. So I got the chance to represent UCSC research stall in both of these exhibitions. There I got the chance to cooperate with general public, and I could give them knowledge about our research groups, our research projects, and at the same time I could get to know about their suggestions, their ideas, their opinions about our research projects. So they were really helpful for me personally, and also to improve our research projects, our research areas. So this is all about my 6 months of industrial training at the UCSC research group called Social Life Networks Research Group. Thank you.